The Mavericks get bucked up again for the second time in 4 days as they get clobbered by 30 to Giannis and the Bucks. We'll break it down coming up next on the Dallas Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. And would you look at that? Down at the very end, it is our national NBA insider, Marc Stein.
Let's go.
Back in studio with us here.
Your favorite guys covering your once favorite team.
We are DLS Mavs. We appreciate all of you joining us.
Half a team.
Whatever shell of a team is left at this
Covering
point.
8/17 of the team.
A trademarked brand.
Marc is back and feeling good. We appreciate you joining us here on our post-game show. Mavericks unfortunately fall tonight by 30, 137 to 107 for their third straight loss as they fall to 32-31 on the season, now 13-18 away from the American Airlines Center as they lose to the Bucks for the second time in just 4 days. Bucks improved to 36-25 on the year as Giannis and Dame lead the charge. Damian Lillard with 34 points. Giannis with 32 points, leading 6 Bucks in double figures. Giannis surpassing the 20,000 career point mark tonight against Dallas. Klay Thompson on 6 of 14 from downtown had 28 points in tonight's game. But gentlemen, a Mavericks team coming into tonight's game missing 9 guys, only had 8 guys available. Tried to give as much effort as they could, but obviously just too much talent for Milwaukee, too many more available bodies for them, and the Mavericks eventually just succumb as expected, unfortunately, for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, mission accomplished. There's no pragmatic reason for Dallas to be winning basketball games right now. That does not help them this season. It does not help their future hopes. And they got through a game with an 8-man rotation, the only 8 players available, with, we don't think, any further injuries. So the curse of this season has not yet befallen yet another poor soul. I think that is enough to say mission accomplished after every single game Dallas plays from now until the end of the season.
Coming into the game, I was like, man, I'm just going to be watching Max Christie defend Dame and see how he looks with the ball. There was some good, there was some bad. Otherwise, I mean, what can I say? Brandon Williams was pretty good, I thought. Omax made a 3. I thought that was nice.
Najee broke his 0 for 19 run from
that
downtown.
Was nice, and it was fun watching Klay be like, you know what, I'm going to throw up as many shots as I feel like, and if that's going to be the rest of the year,
14
that's
threes has to be his Mavs high attempt, isn't it?
27 shots.
When's the last time he did that?
14 threes?
27 shots.
2023. But let me look and see the last time he took 14 threes. It's probably been a while.
Corella Strader.
Yeah, it's been a long
The basketball romantic in me was
he did 17 threes
found
twice last season.
A modicum of romance in Giannis Antetokounmpo cracking 20,000 with Jason Kidd and Jared Dudley in the building, but I'm guessing that I'm very much, unless Charlie Saturday pops in here instantly into the chat room, I'm guessing I'm on a very short list who would find that a noteworthy thing.
Well, how about also
that's absolutely noteworthy.
How about also doing so against the Mavs, the team that by all accounts wanted him more than any other?
Well, now that's a what if that I don't. I mean, because you're 100% right. Donnie Nelson wanted the Mavericks to draft Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was overruled. The Mavs kept moving down the draft board because they were trying to preserve as much cap space for ill-fated runs at stars who did not sign in Dallas. But you do have to wonder, had the Mavericks succeeded in drafting Giannis Antetokounmpo, are they ever in position to draft Luka Doncic?
Almost certainly not.
Probably
And then
not.
we never feel this way.
Is that you're certain that is the outcome?
The butterfly effect of that decision
You're certain that is the outcome.
will be measured for decades.
I mean, that's a great what if.
But anyway,
Not great enough, I'm afraid. not great enough to distract us.
No, not hardly at all. Because GM Ben apparently wants to cry. It's okay. Go ahead and let it out. Grown man cry. Just let it out. Apparently, we are a little bit later on in the show getting that much closer to potentially capturing the flag for the 2025 NBA draft. We'll discuss that. No, not quite.
ooh,
Caught myself there.
And yes, we are also. That's right.
Tanner,
That's right.
don't do that.
We are 26 subscribers away from reaching 18,000 as well. So
Are we?
Tonight. Let's do it tonight. 26?
26
We
subscribers.
can get
Is that
26
so?
in the next hour.
That's what Tanner says.
Friends?
If Tanner says it, then that's the case.
Can we do this together? Can we get to 18K together?
give us something good to feel about.
Giannis gets to 20K. We hit 18K.
Something to feel good about.
Hey, we're reading Carlo's super chat right now for
Yeah.
$2. Carlo 23. At least kid finally settled on an 8-man rotation.
There you go. There you go.
I want to
Yeah.
hear the best jokes tonight because that's a good one. That's a good one to start off with.
That is a good one.
That's a good one to start off with. Bucks shot what was nearly 46% from the 3-point line, nearly over 58% from the field overall. Mavericks shot just 33% from downtown, and nearly 46% overall from the field in this game. They got 28 from Klay Thompson, 22 from Najee Marshall, who had a big third quarter to kind of break out of his slump a little bit for himself in terms of the scoring droughts. Max Christie had 13 on the night, and Brandon Williams was the other Maverick in double figures with 14 points on this night. Some guy whose last name is Porter Jr. had a triple-double for the Bucks. That's all I'm going to say about that. But otherwise, it was the Yame. I don't know who that is, but the Giannis. Maybe that's a good way to put the names together. The Yame. No. The Dame and Giannis show.
Not quite as good as Bronchich.
Ooh, that is a good one.
That was not mine. I saw it on Twitter today. I was like,
Mark
damn.
is back.
I said, damn, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. That's a good one. I don't know who came up with it, but that is.
Onto the
that is a good one.
Lillard.
Onto the Lillard.
All right, the second segment is just us coming up with nicknames.
Yeah, for combinations of stars around the league.
Or maybe we just read super chats.
Absolutely.
Clearly, because those continue to come in. Matt with the 9.99 super chat. Oh man, damn. 3 years ago, Western Conference Finals loss. 2 years ago, lottery. Last year, Finals loss. This year, lottery. Next year, champs.
That's right.
It's destiny. Get one step further after each bad year. The pattern is there.
That is absolutely true. After that, they will get the number 1 pick, and then they'll win 3 in a row, and then they'll get relegated, and then they'll come back and go on like a 60 Celtics run where they'll just win 11 out of 13.
Yeah, but winning 3 in a row would break the streak. They need to win a super title.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need to win the Champions League.
No, they need to win the in-season tournament.
Oh.
Okay. That needs to be a part of it. Okay.
I don't mind that.
Shout out to Adam Silver and his tournaments and stuff.
Shout out.
And shout out to him, I guess. A lot of folks apparently getting excited in the chat about the idea of capturing the flag potentially in the 20.
Oh, I got odds for you.
Yeah,
folks.
we got some odds. Shout out to the NBA Tankathon. We'll get to a little bit later on in our show. But yeah, just a difficult watch.
You
tonight.
lived on that site the lively year, didn't you?
I've spent a lot of time on that website in my day, man. A lot of time on my on that website.
I visit it actually pretty consistently throughout an NBA season because they do the best job showing remaining strength of schedule.
Yeah, strength of schedule.
They do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I look at it.
And
Yeah.
so
It is a great site.
Will
It is
will
funny.
I ever see you as happy as you were when they drafted Omax? When is the next time I will see you that happy?
I think I was pretty well. You weren't here because you were at the arena the night whenever they beat Memphis in the tournament to advance out of the group stage.
Was he?
I was
he,
pretty fired up.
Yeah, he was fired up.
We were
Yeah,
fired
that was,
up
That was
that
a
night.
crazy night. They had the
you were
comeback
Omax
and-
level happy?
Oh, I was fired up because I'm like, this team is going to win the title.
wow.
Wow.
That's literally
one
what
of
I
the-
thought. When they came back to beat
Right.
Memphis.
But is it 7 games that the starting lineup played? Was that one of the 7 games that they actually had their preferred top 5 players starting in a game.
Well, it wasn't their preferred top 5 starting players because Luka was in the starting lineup.
Oh my God.
Oh, Tim, off the top
Yeah.
row. From Sarah,
Previously preferred.
Right. From Sarah, Mark's Charger cord has had more games this season for the Mavs than Luka Doncic.
Ooh.
Correct. True.
I brought it.
You are fully back.
I left the house, and then I was like, no, I got to bring the Charger in hopes that delivers just a modicum, a sliver of.
Well, just be careful over there because you got an open bottle over there. I don't want your water, crash over on your laptop. Next thing you know, you got to buy all that new stuff all over again.
The cord sparks joy.
It's just water. I mean, joy might be stretching it, but I thought it would get a solitary laugh or two. So
The cord sparks.
mission accomplished.
Hopefully
It's your
not.
job.
Hopefully.
Well,
Right.
There's a lot of wood in this office.
By the way, was that Sarah's comment?
That
Yeah, it
was.
I haven't had a chance to wear it.
Oh,
Let's go.
I haven't had a chance to wear this yet. Thank you.
Look at that,
Yes.
Sarah.
Thank
You
you
got
for
the
bringing me-
friendship
thank-
bracelet
Thank you for making that for me.
wearing by Marc Stein there. Yeah. Oh, from La Sauce, why the guy in the middle keep drinking?
Okay, for the record, it's both guys. It's both guys.
I don't know
Why
what
do
you're
you guys
talking
in the middle
about. I
keep
got nothing
drinking?
here. Wait a minute.
I love it.
Yeah, you would be too if you were up here.
Woo! GM Ben with the $2 super chat. Nico would trade Mark's cord.
Shout out to GM Ben.
How many recordings of me do you have?
I don't think
The way the rest of the season is going, we're going to find out.
I don't think he has a single drop of me saying anything.
No,
But
there's
you
none
have-
of us.
But there's
Oh.
like 20 clips of Mark.
Yeah, we'll find out throughout the rest of the regular season.
Tim, you were on the latest Lakers backstage episode. I don't know what that is.
Oh, wow.
I'm guessing that's like a team production. I was probably just walking around.
So it's a show on Spectrum Sportsnet where they do behind the scenes shows.
Yeah.
of the Lakers.
I did sit down for an interview for that. Yes, I forgot I did that.
You've been doing a lot of that lately, haven't you? Look at you.
Getting a lot. I've been having to say more often than yes.
Oh, you had to turn down appearances. Look at you. Big
I
man
only
on
have so
campus.
much time in the day.
Big man on campus here.
But I did do that one, yeah.
Sarah would trade the cord for a shorter knockoff. I'm not sure what that means. Sarah, with your law degree, explain what that means to us. Like I'm 5.
Knockoff is a move in Pokemon that removes the other Pokemon's item.
Knockoff is also like a fake bag that you like purchase like from a vendor in New York or something if you don't want a real one. Something
Yeah.
like that.
It's probably a lot of other things too.
That's true.
But it's definitely those two things.
Like this team we watched tonight because it's definitely a knockoff version of the real version of the Dallas Mavericks. Who, look, man, we talked about it in the pregame show. You can't give up threes to this team. And Damian Lillard was on a heater. In fact, he had 26 first-half points. That tied a season high for him in a first half in this game. In fact, the Mavericks, who actually had a lead in this game at 19-18, saw the Bucks go on what was an 18-3 run to take what was a 36-22 lead. Mavericks was able to pull it back within 6 with 9 minutes left in the second quarter. But the Bucks, again, went on what was another 18-3 run, theme of the night here, to reestablish what was a 21-point lead at 65-44. And the game was over from there. From GM Ben. Nico would trade Stein's iPhone 7 for an iPhone 5.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's how we're feeling tonight? Okay, good.
iPhone 5 was a great phone.
Tanner,
And
delete
mine, no.
GM Ben. Just delete it. That one you can play.
That one you can play over and over again. Okay.
The best analogy I heard about the trade was somebody saying like, it's like you had a dog and it was a great dog and it was your dog. And then your roommate, you come home and your roommate's like, dude, I traded your dog for another dog. And this dog is like 10 instead of 3. But it's a great dog. And it is a great dog. The new one, it's great. You know, probably doesn't match the timeline that it's going to grow up with your kids, but it's a great dog.
He just has a busted paw and might not have healed by the time, you get ready to play with it all over again.
Yeah.
So, there's that, how great that is. Let's take our first break here, GM Ben, on the Dallas Mavs post-game show. When we come back, are we that much closer to capturing the flag potentially for your Dallas Mavericks?
Let's go.
We'll break that down next on the DLS
Some
Mavs
bold
post-game
leaps
show.
being taken tonight. Bold leaps.
But first, it was a ugly, forgettable, regrettable performance by the boys in blue tonight. But it was a win for me, and it was a win for everybody that played along with me on the Sleeper app.
Let's
I got
go!
Giannis
Let's
for 20.
go.
I got Dame for 20. I got Dwight Powell more than 3.5 points. And my guy delivered with a whopping 6. So I'm taking home $10. The money has already been deposited back into my account. I could withdraw it right now if I wanted to, and I just might because we got another game on Friday, and I might get the lads some queso to enjoy in the studio. If you think you know ball, want to play along with me, download the Sleeper app today. You can use the promo code DLLSMavs. Play $5 to get $55 in free plays. You can use them on any play. It does not have to be your first. Just check the terms of use for details. Sleeper is currently operational in more than 25 states, including Texas, so there's no excuse.
Texas.
Put your ball knowledge to the test anytime you like with Sleeper.
And after you win that money with Sleeper, you can get yourself a nice pair of Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all of your outdoor adventures. With spring is right around the corner. Summer coming not too long after that. You've got to get yourself a nice pair of Shady Rays. They probably have a style in your favorite team's colors as well. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off your polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated by over 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, head to shadyrays.com. Use code DLLS for 35% off your polarized sunglasses today. As we continue here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show, Mavericks lose 137-107 to the Milwaukee Bucks. They lose to the Bucks for the second time in 4 days. They return home on Friday when they welcome in Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Before we continue here, did I see another super chat come in, Tanner, I believe? Oh, no, okay. Just GM Ben just spamming with super chats. Appreciate him for that. Bobby, are we that much closer to potentially, I can't believe I'm saying this, capture the flag where somebody jumped in our chat and said Nico would draft Cooper Flag and then just trade him for Kevin Durant?
I feel like maybe he would just draft Dylan Harper.
Ooh, wow. Maybe.
Dylan Harper's really good.
So right now, as it stands, the Mavs are still 10th place in the West. Granted, they're only 3.5 games ahead of Phoenix, and Phoenix does own the tiebreaker, at least for the time being, against Dallas. And they're only 4.5 games against the Spurs, who are all the way down in 13th, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, my God. So the Mavs are only 4.5 games ahead of 13th place in the West. Currently, though, there's so many awful teams in the East that the Spurs, despite being third from the bottom in the West, only have the 9th worst record in the league. And so here's the deal. Let's just wave your magic wand and say the Mavs lose every single game for the rest of the season. That would put them at 32-50. It's unlikely that the Blazers and Suns, who are currently only 4 and 3 wins behind the Mavs, respectively, would not win at least 4 or 3 games, respectively. And the Spurs are only 6 games behind the Mavs in the win column. I could see them winning 6 or 7 games and passing the Mavs in the standings. But let's assume that nobody else passes the Mavs in terms of win totals. That would put the Mavs in 9th position in the lottery, which is only a 20% chance at a top 4 pick and only a 4.5% chance at the number 1 pick. Now, let's say that Phoenix passes them and Atlanta passes them, but Portland and San Antonio doesn't. Just for the sake of this argument, if the Mavs move from 13th to 11th in the lottery order, they would have a 9.4% chance at a top 4 pick and a 2% chance at the number 1 overall pick. As it stands right now, Dallas in 13th position has a 4.8% chance at a top 4 pick and just a 1% chance at the number 1 overall pick. And so your odds do dramatically increase even by climbing a couple spots in the lottery order. But I cannot stress enough, a 20% chance of something happening means it is still almost certainly not going to happen. So I would just, caution against hope.
20% sounds like it's almost 100.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
like think about 20. Think about the number 20. Think about the number 100.
You guys got Cat riled up now.
And then think about the number 7,212.
That didn't take long.
Which of those two numbers is closer to 100? Like 20 looks really close to 100 in that scenario.
For real. Let's just go crazy.
Let's go crazy, damn it. Let's just
go. Do it.
Let's say somehow they actually win the lottery.
Oh.
And they got flag. Yeah. I mean,
title, baby. Come on.
No, but I'm being serious. Like today I was actually thinking about it. Like, how much would that really rally? I mean, it would rally spirits to a degree, but it's like, that's not, I mean, that's obviously a way better situation than it looks right now, but it's not a cure-all.
I mean, a lot of the fan base right now does not trust Mavs ownership or the Mavs front office. So
Correct.
As long as Mavs ownership and Nico Harrison is in the front office, the fan base will have a difficult time believing in a team enough. Again, this is not the broad swath. This is not everybody. But there is certainly a significant portion of the Mavs fan base that will not allow itself to invest emotions in a franchise that it doesn't trust to do right by them. So getting Cooper Flagg in this very hypothetical scenario, it would be better for the on-court product. And I think Dallas as a product is never going away. They're an NBA franchise. Always going to be people going to the games. There's always going to be people following them. Always going to be people buying jerseys of celebrated stars. But the Mavericks as a hobby is what's struggling right now. And that's where the soul of your team comes from. And so, yeah, like Cooper Flagg would make next season really interesting. It would make things fascinating. It would still be difficult for Dallas to win enough without a superstar, without a star guard creator. Obviously, that's something they'd have a summer to try to correct. Cooper fits on this team, sort of. I mean, they still have too many big men.
I think he's the kind of player that fits on any team, to be honest.
Yeah, he fits. He's
well,
awesome.
and
He's a good player.
Like I said, in
And
this
he's gonna be
miracle, underlying miracle scenario, put it in capital letters, permanent ink. I mean, it would be a miracle.
But that's why.
But let's just, again, we're playing the game here that this happens. I mean, they're not going to have trouble moving a big to balance out the roster in that miracle dream. And that's, I can't even call it a dream scenario. It's not a dream scenario.
I mean, based off of this hellish nightmare we're living right now, anything is about a dream.
But it's not realistic. What's not realistic is for Dallas to have next season a star lead creator who's a guard or a wing, but a perimeter creator. Because I've said that it is not impossible that Kyrie Irving misses the entirety of next season. But he might not. He might be there for the second half of the year, or at least the final third of the year. A lot of times ACL injuries take 18 months. It is very possible that he won't be, in 18 months from now, he's going to be pushing 35, which also is just when the natural decline of an athlete happens. But even if he's back next season, you can't trust him to be that. And so, as I half jokingly say that maybe, the team would just draft Dylan Harper, at least that's like your chance. And again, you're digging out of a hole that you created for yourself. But how else are they going to have a star offensive creator on this team? It's just still unbalanced. Even if you were to add Cooper Flagg to this roster, it's like, obviously it's a good thing. This hypothetical scenario, that would be a good thing for Dallas. What I'm trying to enunciate is that Kyrie Irving's injury is so damaging and so damning to the very idea of even what this team was constructed to be.
Yeah, but I think, in this, again, hypothetical scenario, if you do move into the top 4 and you get a really, really badass prospect, whether it's, number 1 pick and you draft Flag, or you get Harper or Bailey or Tanner's guy, VJ Edgecombe, or, any other number of players that you could take in the top 4, what you're doing is getting a little younger, getting a little more athletic, and getting a player that is, in theory, at least cost controlled for many years to come.
Which is the
and you're
antithesis
of
a Nico Harrison timeline.
But you're reopening a path to continued relevance beyond just 2 years from now. Now I think the ultimate choice that this organization would be facing, let's say they move up, but not all the way to number 1. Let's say they get really lucky, but only move up to like 3 or 4.
I mean, that
are
would
they
be
using the pick or are they trading?
Yeah, I mean, no,
Matt Ishbia would be on line 1.
They're using it.
You think so?
I hope so.
I could feel the fear.
Right.
I could sense the fear.
Because
in
as
your
I was
voice.
saying the words, I'm like, man, you're on to something.
You get
The
that. You trade
illustrator is on to
you
something.
trade the 3rd pick. That's worth a lot more than the 12th pick.
Look, I will. I am not. If Dallas won,
How did we get here?
if Dallas won the lottery, the first thing that would have to happen for that franchise, the way I see it, is you have to change GMs. If you have the 1st overall pick and you have the potential to draft, hopefully, the next superstar of your franchise, you can't be committed to a GM that only views this as a 2 or 3 year timeline commitment,
Correct.
all that stuff. Obviously, there's been a whole lot of pushes and calls to fire him right now, and I understand, but I'm just saying, like, that becomes something where you can't. If you have the potential to draft the best player of a draft class in a very good draft class, you like, it changes even the possibility that it's even rational or realistic to view this as a 2 or 3 win now window.
Yeah, because any pick that he would see, if they were to be in the top 5 or anything like that, as I said,
Well, just one thing though, like on Kyrie, it really is hard to project how long this is going to sideline him. Because I would just say this: I think we know he's gonna work maniacally to come back from this thing. It's just the way he is. I mean, we know he lives in the gym. I think we've seen from, all the scenes after the injury happened, the very heartfelt comments he gave when he did, what was it, a live IG session? Like, I mean, look, I can just, again, I am no doctor. I don't want to, just like 2 recent ACL situations that I tracked closely just in my job. You had the Jamal Murray situation, which it took him way longer at a younger age to come back from. But then I look at soccer, my team, you guys know, Manchester City, Rodri, I was there in the stadium in September when he suffered an ACL tear against Arsenal. And I was there just now, and like, he's got the ball at his feet. He's doing stuff. And, it's uncertain. It's not clear, but there are rumbles that like coming back this season is not out of the realm of possibility. So it just shows, I just use those 2 examples to say there is a very wide berth in the modern day of how long an ACL recovery could be. Sometimes it's faster than like I said, the fact that people can even talk in the soccer world about Rodri coming back in the same season that he sustained this tear. We don't know if it's going to happen, but the fact that it's even a conversation, it just shows you that there is a very wide array of possibilities here. And look, the Jamal Murray example, there's no way to forget that. I mean, he has only just recently started looking like the Jamal Murray we remember on the title team.
There it is.
And a lot of it
yes.
depends on how much the meniscus is affected. Sometimes you can go in, sometimes we've heard stories of the extent of the damage, not only to the meniscus. We have no indication there's anything other than a straight ACL tear in Kyrie's incident. There have been stories in the past that once you go in to operate on the ACL, that there is other damage that was unable to be seen. But we don't have any indication of that. The meniscus is much more damning and scary. And if more of that is damaged, you cannot fix it. You cannot It just has to be removed. And the more meniscus that is removed, the kind of the cushioning of the knee that, anybody who's had gone through been fans of teams and players that have had the surgery, you've heard all about it. But, all meniscus being removed from players' knees has prematurely ended careers, stuff like that. So a lot of it depends on that. And that's not something that we're probably ever going to hear about directly, maybe way down the line. But that's never going to be included directly unless they want to include that they're directly operating on it. But I don't think in this situation they would be. That's not something that you're going to hear exactly, but it is a variable that goes into these surgeries. There's a lot of variables, certainly age is one, but
I mean,
we'll see. Obviously, wishing the best for Kyrie because I like watching him play basketball, and I hope he does that sooner than later.
Yeah, and I'll say real quick is the idea of with these athletes, for a lot of them, it doesn't take 1 year, it takes 2 years to really get back to the athlete that they were prior to the ACL injury, no matter how quickly they're able to return, because you've got to be able to get that knee back to where you felt like you can be comfortable with it to operate on it at full go and capacity prior to the injury. So a long road to recovery for Kyrie Irving. Let's take our next break here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. When we come back, more of your super chats as the Mavericks fall tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks, and what is next with the looming information potentially tomorrow when it comes to Anthony Davis, Derek Lively II, and Daniel Gafford. All that and more coming up next on the DLS Mavs post-game show.
Started by two college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and starting at only $75. They've got Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. I would imagine they have Duke. So if you want to get a head start on your Cooper Flag Dallas Mavericks first overall draft pick fandom, why don't you head to Saturday Neon and go ahead and get that Duke neon sign? Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but they still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love, and they last up to 100,000 hours. That is approximately the number of points Cooper Flag is going to score his NBA career entirely for the Dallas Mavericks. So head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign.
And you can celebrate the picking of Cooper Flag with the Dallas Mavericks with a drink that's held in a Rugged Road cooler. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the very best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. They're durable and dependable, crafted to handle the toughest environments. Their coolers are built to last, ensure they keep up with any adventure. Coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, and oftentimes much longer than that. They're perfect for a variety of outdoor activities as well, from fishing to tubing to camping to tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor and sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. They're reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off today. As we continue here on the DLS Mavs post-game show, the Dallas Mavericks fall to the Milwaukee Bucks tonight, 137-107. We are joined in studio by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. Good to have him back, as we are just now 17 subscribers away from 18,000.
Let's get to 18K tonight. Tonight.
Can I really
the knife tonight?
Can I quickly call out a comment I saw in chat?
Why are you calling it out?
So William
Highlighting.
earlier is asked about, if people believe that, the Mavs might actually replace Nico as GM, but he ends it with genuine question. And I love the way that William shortened question to question.
Oh my
I think that's awesome. William,
I think he's been watching. He's been watching a lot of this show.
I don't know how familiar you are with my bit, but dude, I love shortening words. I think that is such a great breevy.
You gotta relax.
I think that's awesome.
William, he's gonna send you some super chat money.
I will.
That's right.
He's gonna Venmo you $2.99.
Oh my God, that's great.
14
away
alert
from 18K.
14 alert. Come on, let's get to 18K.
You guys got 25 minutes.
I got one question for y'all. Why aren't you subbed?
Giannis 20K. We're getting 18K.
Was that all you had on the call? Just the
question?
question?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, no, I think that's
Oh, I thought you were actually going to try to answer his question about.
Oh no, I mean
what was the question? Don't clip that, Tanner.
Do people in chat think that the Mavs would actually make a move on from Nico as GM?
They're not going to do that. They're not. I mean, do people act like a decision was made 35 days ago and now they're going to say, "Oh, we don't believe in this guy," and they're not going to admit anything. They're going to ride this out, keep going, and
see what happens.
I can't imagine that.
The only scenario I could imagine, a lot of the reporting, we don't know a lot about Patrick Dumont and the ownership group in terms of how they actually work and operate. And one thing that has been reported to some extent is just that they were not as knowledgeable about basketball. He was not as knowledgeable about basketball, that he put a lot of faith in Nico.
That much is evident.
Clearly.
And that's why I put a lot of blame at Patrick Dumont's doorstep.
Yeah.
Because you do not buy an NBA team and just you have to turn to someone for advice or counsel.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just say, well, this is what my GM wants to do. And okay, I have blind total, no, he made look.
Didn't he initially laugh at the idea when it was brought to him?
He made the decision. They, as an organization, made the decision. Maybe you like Mark Cuban, maybe you don't, maybe you have issues with the nearly 25 years in charge of the franchise that he spent. Maybe you're a huge fan. Wherever you stand on this, he had a near quarter century of experience, and the Mavericks' new ownership made the decision to not even ask him for his take on this. Hey, we're new to ownership, and this is what the front office wants to do. You have to know that you don't have the experience to just take this recommendation and sign off on it. And they did.
And Mark sold because he believed he would have more power, and he was, he believed he would still be involved.
Yeah, he believed he would retain control of basketball operations, and
he sold,
and he did. And look, he's the one who put that in the ether.
Right.
He's the one who said it would be the case, and it was clearly not the case. I think I've done 4 or 5 what we call TikToks on this trade to this
very
point.
Necessary must-reads.
I can't remember which one it was, but one of them I talked about that by the sale was agreed in November, shortly after Thanksgiving 2023. By the next trade deadline, February 2024, the trade deadline that saw the Mavericks acquire both Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, by that point, Mark Cuban was already not in control of basketball operations.
Right, which, to be clear, Mark, that's so dumb. It is a classic. He thought he could, have his cake and eat it too.
My man got played.
You wanted the money of selling the team without actually selling the team, but you sold the team. And then all of a sudden, a GM who was brought in, a head of basketball operations, who was allowed to run the ship, but still
whom he hired,
but who Mark hired, but still answered to Mark. This person, was brought in large part, it was said at the press conference. A lot of it was about his connections and throughout the basketball world. But any shortcomings that person might have had, or any way out there ideas, were stuff that were still going to go past Mark Cuban's door. Now they didn't. But he was the GM that remained in place, and the Dumont family put all their trust into this person that was not one of their people, that was not, vetted on, in their process. He was an established person. Even if they had hired Nico Harrison outright, the process of hiring him would have gone through a lot more checks and balances and on the Dumont side before they got there. And maybe at some point he would have failed from that. Anyway, the reason I initially brought this up, and I'm kind of a little bit joking about it, but boy, if there's ever a moment where Patrick Dumont's going to catch up basketball 101 and kind of figure out what the sport is, I think it's probably going to be over the past month has made him realize, all right, it's time to figure out what exactly is going on here.
But that,
I don't
again,
think,
that's staggering. It's staggering to me.
I am all but certain that Nico Harrison is Mavericks general manager going into next season, and that this vision is going to be what Dallas continues to hope can exist on the court at some point in a real fashion, because they believe, Nico Harrison believes, if they can get to that point, that this team is a very good potential title contender. That's everything I understand and believe to be the case. All I just wanted to point out is it might be a good time for Patrick Dumont to, for that crash course to happen.
The problem is
and
that
who knows? Maybe that changes something.
The problem is the self-imposed timeline that he has put together, this 3 to 4 year competitive window, it's already been slashed in half. And already with the injury to Kyrie Irving, the injury with Anthony Davis, who may not return for the remainder of this season, and then going into next year with a 35-year-old, a 33-year-old, and a 32-year-old, because Anthony Davis turns 32 next week. Kyrie Irving turns 33 toward the end of the month. And then already Kyrie will be another year older by the time he gets back next year. There is a lot of timeline here that has already been lost, to where you may at some point need to make a decision, no matter how you try to see this through, that it's just not working because you don't have the pieces to put it together based off of what he decided to do. And he artificially cut off that timeline based off of the decision that he could not believe in the generational superstar. This is of my own personal opinion. If the Lakers find a way to win a championship this year, as soon as Luka hoists that trophy up, Nico Harrison needs to be fired immediately, because the whole purpose of this was betting against the 25-year-old, now 26-year-old, that he couldn't do it for the rest of his career. And then if he goes in what would be the craziest midseason trade of all time and then helps LeBron win a championship, he has to go immediately, because that vision is now officially gone, and it's officially the worst trade in NBA history.
And look, I'm not trying to suggest this was Nico's plan. Nico was the driving force behind this trade. I'm not trying to suggest otherwise. My point here is it just blows my mind that new ownership would come in, an asset that is the team is worth more than $4 billion. The valuation of the actual sale, it's never been pinned down. Was it, four, whatever it was, but this is a $4 to $5 billion asset, this franchise. And the fact that they just rubber stamped this as as disastrous as all the potential basketball consequences are, I mean, the business consequences we've seen just in the span of a month are incredible. And is supposedly what means the most to this new ownership group. So I cannot believe that,
I saw someone ask, what percentage of the blame does Mavs ownership deserve for this trade? And I reject that premise. Go through piece by piece and grade them on how much are you to blame for this, 1 to 10. Nico Harrison, you can give him a 10. If you want to give ownership a 7, an 8, a 9, I think that's also fine. This doesn't have to be a percentage scenario. You don't need to be subtracting blame or causality. That's how I'm looking at it. Nico is the cause of this, but the ownership and the way they got here is also the cause of this. Mark Cuban is also the cause of this. To some extent, quite possibly, we still haven't pinned it down, but Jason Kidd, I don't know what the number is on that scale, but I would love to find out.
Basically, we talked about Cooper Flag before. What, if the miracle of Cooper Flag happens, like how much is that a rebound from where the Mavs are as we speak? And it's like, they need to win a title in the next 1, 2, 3 seasons, which we already know this season it ain't happening.
Next year's not happening
and next
either.
season we've laid out why that is extremely unlikely. You need a title in the short term, but they also need Luka to not flourish in Los Angeles. He's already flourishing. He's gonna flourish. He is going to win multiple championships as a Laker. I'm telling you right now, he's going to. And so, like, what they need to, quote, get out of this, like, it's,
I mean, I've said it and I'll say it again as we go to take our last break here on the postgame show. This organization will know no peace for however long because of the decision that it has made. You have seen it play out over the last month plus already in the cascading of how this organization has been thrown into chaos over the last 30 plus days, all because a president and general manager decided that he did not have faith in the 26-year-old now superstar. I do not believe that his hand was forced by ownership to make this decision, because what damn good decision would that be to watch all that business walk out of the door, and then all these conspiracy theories about moving to Vegas. Y'all need to stop with the BS. Like, y'all got to relax.
But yeah, if you don't truly understand fandom, and I'm speaking more about the ownership group here. If you don't get fandom, like, everybody knows what sports fans are, but if you don't understand how a fan base can connect with a player, and how that there is a reciprocal relationship there,
you shouldn't be in this business.
But that's also how you don't recognize how much of an effect this is going to have on your sports team.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets back to, it's absurd that they came in without any checks and balances, and just allowed the same power structure to remain in place. Like,
Cuban was an owner for almost 25 years. Yeah. The relationship between Cuban and the Adelson Dumont families has been growing progressively closer for nearly a decade. So Cuban legitimately believed that he was going to retain control of basketball, whether that was a ridiculous belief or not. He actually thought that. And even if that proved to be a complete misread on his part, you would have at least thought that they would have consulted the guy who'd been in that seat for nearly 25 years. Mark, we're about to trade Luka. What do you think here? Like, you got to consult somebody.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the league long enough to be close with other owners. Do you call someone at the league off? You got to ask. You got to seek counsel from someone. Like, part of being a great businessman is knowing what you don't know.
And
let's hold that break.
Sorry.
Let me just end on this. Dumont obviously was okay with Marc being removed from that position, but I don't know if he was the driving force behind it.
Let's take our final break here on the Dallas Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we'll continue with our conversation. And, of course, we'll dial up the timeline with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, coming up next year on the Dallas Mavs postgame show.
But first, shout out to Joey and Michael and Brett, Bill, Raina, Timothy, and Kimberly, who all signed up today to become diehards. Yeah, Tim, you've worked here for 6 months. Are you a Timothy?
I am a Timothy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Congrats.
A diehard is a member of our community here at DLLS
you have
Sports.
A legal name.
Someone who wants to take their support one step further than just subbing on YouTube, even though we appreciate all 17,900 and now 93. Somebody unsubbed. Very uncouth.
What?
But you too can become a diehard by scanning the QR code right there, clicking the link in the description below, or going to alldlls.com/diehard, where for a limited time, in honor of the Rangers kicking off spring training as they look to win that odd year World Series with Bruce Bochy, it is only going to cost you $48 for the year. That comes out to $4 a month. That is less than a cup of coffee at your favorite coffee chain. In exchange, you get a free shirt right when you sign up. It's worth 75% of the value of the membership. Get a discount on any other gear you could want, including shirts, sweaters, hoodies, mugs, cups, flags, not Cooper, and more. You get to read the entire paywalled website, including the results of Tim Cato's fan survey, coming very, very soon, and a lot more coverage of all the 4 major pro sports teams in town. With more on the way, you get to join the DLS Diehard Discord server and hold them up, show them.
Physical diehard card.
You're damn right. You get a physical diehard card in the mail just for you. You show it off. You get friends. You get loved
Street
ones,
cred.
lovers, street cred, fame, notoriety,
Lovers?
and much more as a result of showing this card. This is not financial advice, but you should do it. Thank you.
Oh boy.
Wow, Bobby, that's wow.
Inappropriate comment alert.
Inappropriate comment. What do you mean?
John B in the chat said he's giving up the Mavs for Lent.
Respect. See, it's all over 40 days from now. So
Yeah.
We
a good
appreciate
comment.
all of you
Good
joining
joke.
us here on the DLS Mavs post-game show as we are joined in studio by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. Unfortunately, the Mavericks fall 137, or fortunately, depending on how you feel about it, 137 to 107 to the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's get to another super chat real quick. We had 2 more. Ben with the GM Ben with the $2 super chat. As a great man once said, burn it down, Seth Rollins. You are right about that, GM Ben. It's a wrestling reference.
I think we skipped Matt's. I don't think we've read Matt's, did we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, we didn't read Matt's. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Let's get to Matt. When the Mavs move up in the lottery for the first time ever, just proves the NBA did this to save the NBA ratings. Hashtag capture the flag. Real talk. Appreciate
Excellent point
you guys.
by Matt.
Appreciate you.
Don't the Mavs have a history where they have never moved up in the lottery ever?
Ever.
Ever.
In fact,
Not even one spot.
I believe they've moved down more often than they've stayed the same, if you can believe that.
Atlanta moved. What would they had the 10th best odds to get the number 1 overall pick, and they got that. So
Well, the
anything's
math
possible.
guys would tell me that just because that happened last year, it does not indicate it is less likely to happen this year. But my brain insists that it's not going to happen 2 years in a row.
No, that is a fallacy. Don't fall for that.
The sad part would be of San
Wait,
Antonio.
which one?
Your second part.
We do need a cam on you.
The sad
to
part would
react
be
to
if
whatever. I mean,
when the Mavs move up, but they're going to move up to 4.
This
and we're all
man
going to be like, I mean,
celebrated-
I guess
this
like
man
cool,
celebrated
right?
this. This man celebrated the selection of Omax Prosper
the picture's right up
on
there behind you.
a level as if the Mavericks had just won a championship.
Mark,
I can't even imagine. I didn't see you the night they got Luka, but
I was so fired up.
I
dude.
can't
Oh my
imagine
God.
you.
Oh my
even with
God.
a number 4 pick. Number 4 pick, you might just
No, it was
your physical diehard card might just
full on
burst
party at
into
Canton
flames.
Hall that night. I was like, Dennis Smith Jr., you got to understand, this guy's unbelievable. Like, you're going to love him. You are going to love him. You're going to love him.
William Holden with the 99-cent super chat. Appreciate you dropping that in for us here.
Thank you, William.
Thank you, William.
Appreciate.
You gotta stop.
William is the one that said it, Quesh. I think it's great.
And you did it. You gotta stop. We are blessed to
Thanks
be
for the soup.
joined by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. Back in studio with us, world traveler, planes, trains, automobiles, but he found his way back to the DLS Sports Studios. Big day coming tomorrow, Mark. Obviously, January, not at all. March 6th, as we're 5 subs away from 18K.
We're not going home till we get there.
I think we all wish it
and
was
that's
January.
not a threat.
Thanks, Jeff.
I think we wish it was January.
You guys
we
can
could,
stay.
We could fix
Oh,
time.
wow.
Change
Okay.
things.
But the looming evaluations for
You know,
Daniel
who's checked
Gafford,
out of their job. Interesting.
Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively II, all 3 dealing with significant injuries. Mark, your perspective on this day tomorrow and what we possibly could be hearing when it comes to these 3 individuals.
Well, look, I think even in the best case scenario, had this horrible knee situation not befallen Kyrie Irving, I don't know that we were going to get tons of clarity tomorrow. I mean, look, we already know that on Gafford's timeline, he was most likely going to miss the rest of the regular season. I've been checking to this point as we speak. What time is it? 10:10 local time on Wednesday night, 11:10 Eastern. I mean, there really hasn't been much of a whisper about what we're going to get on the Anthony Davis front. But look, I think realistically, the Mavs see what we all see, like rushing to bring AD or Lively back. Why? Like, they're not. You only had one top flight offensive creator left, and you just lost him for the season. Even if AD and Lively could make a seamless in-season return, where is this team really going? So they're not going to come out and say it, but I do think realistically they know that.
I'm just
one
Uno
Subway.
Mas.
One
I
Subway.
thought you were trying to stop me from saying something dumb.
Bobby would never cut you off unless he
We
absolutely.
did it. Well, you all did it. We all did it.
18,000.
18,000
Only 2,000 away from Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's right. Yeah, and it only took us one season, Giannis. What do you think about that, bud? Took you 12 or something. Can't count.
Take that for data.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We really, really do appreciate you. Thank
Shout
you.
out to the 18,000.
So I guess that's my long-winded way of saying I don't know that we're going to get full-blown declarations on what happens for the rest of the season tomorrow, but this has to be trending towards ultimate caution. Let ultimate caution prevail. There is no reason to bring these guys back now and risk endangering them further, because this I mean, as low as the tankathon odds are ultimately going to be, they look better than anything else they can pursue this season.
I do have a question, though, for guys like Caleb Martin and PJ, guys that don't have, injuries that we would consider like to be serious or long-term, maybe even Jaden Hardy, depending on what his ankle situation is, even though he keeps spraining that same ankle, which is, a cause for concern. For those guys, like, is there an urgency for the Mavs to see Caleb Martin on the floor, even if it's not going to be with their best players? Should PJ try and hurry back for any reason?
I would say there's urgency in neither case. You already know what PJ Washington is about, and, they're going to have to re-sign him. One of the, there's a slew of contractual items that this team has to deal with in the offseason, and PJ Washington's contract status is high on that list. So, I mean, he's been banged up enough this season that I wouldn't want to do anything that messes him up. I mean, the last thing they need is any further serious injuries. With Martin, okay, they haven't seen him play yet, but they already have contract. He's under team control. They have him on I think the cost certainty of his contract was one of the appeals to the Mavericks to make that trade. A trade that obviously that one don't look too great either right now, with the way Quentin Grimes is just playing the best offensive basketball of his life in Philly. But look, the Mavericks felt like they needed more length. One of the concerns since the summertime was, how are they going to replace the length of Derrick Jones defensively? They clearly missed that in the first 40-odd games of the season. They thought Martin would be a better defender, give them added length, a guy who has proven it on the playoff stage. That was the driving reason, one of the driving reasons behind that trade. So would they like to see him? And look, they are going to see him. He is going to be back here relatively soon. They will finally see him on the court, but I don't think there's an urgency in either case.
Yeah, it's just time to rip the Band-Aid off and get it over with. I mean, this is a lost season now at this point, and there's no reason to rush, in my mind, any of these three centers back, no matter where they are in this season.
19 more to go.
Yeah, just get them as healthy as you can.
Games, not subs.
as quickly as you can, and that process should start now based off of where they are. But we will hopefully find out more tomorrow when the Mavericks are scheduled to be reevaluating Anthony Davis, Derek Lively II, and Daniel Gafford. If any of that news breaks, we'll be right here to cover it for you here on DLS Sports. So make sure that you are comment, and subscribing to DLS Sports. Again, thank you so much for helping us reach 18,000 subscribers tonight. We really appreciate all of you and your support of us here at DLS Sports. You can become a diehard member by visiting alldls.com and clicking the diehard button. Our best offer right now, $48 a year to join us here on our DLS Sports family. Mavericks fall 137-107 to the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Their third straight loss. They'll be back on the floor on Friday when they take on John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. We are off tomorrow. We may not be off depending on what happens with the news, but we are scheduled to be back on Friday with our pregame show right here on DLS Sports. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always.
Tanner!
Thank you, sir. Glad to have our national NBA insider Marc Stein back in studio with us. Good to see you. I'm glad to have you back. That is our Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. That is our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, and I'm your host Kevin Gray. We are DLS Mavs. We'll talk to you Friday right here on DLS Sports. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later.
Talk soon, everybody.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.